for me, most of the values that I have, they're still intact um, from prior to me being in recovery. I've been pretty fortunate. Most of my life I had a mother, I had a father. I came from a two-parent household. I had a loving family, even though we didn't have much. We had each other. Um, so again, like I may have mentioned it before, I'm the youngest of five, and my oldest brother, like I said, is a super important person in my life. He was 16 years older than me, so oftentimes at certain stages of my life, he was kind of like a parent to me, and he he showed me so much. He always told me things like, um, treat people the way you want to be treated. Always give a firm handshake, look people in the eye. You know, um, he even, he quoted Maya Angelou to me. He would say, people always remember how you make them feel, right? So, from early on, I always had a good, um, I always had good insight with what's right and wrong. And I think when you know right from wrong, that helps establish like your values and your morals and your principles and integrity, right? So even in the marginalized societies that we come from, the Brownsvilles and the East Harlems and the Best Stuyvesants of the world, there's still value and there's still morals and there's still integrity. So I take a lot of the values that I had growing up that made me the person I am. They're like reinforced in my recovery journey, right? So things like respecting people, is such an important value. And in my recovery, of course I respect myself, but I respect others. Um, Patience is a value that is important during recovery because I know that oftentimes, you know, uh, I may be confronted with something that tries my patience, right? Something that 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 makes me, that can unravel you, right? So learning how to be patient for me is an important attribute, an important value to have during recovery. Um, you know, to support my recovery, a value, that I need to have that supports the recovery is, um, like really caring for others, not just saying that you care for them, but like really caring for the well-being of not only your peer, and those that are on the recovery journey with you, whether they were addicted or they vicariously or they were impacted by someone's addiction, but just in general, just you know, uh, uh, in humanity, just really caring about your fellow man. These are things that are important because when you're in a good space, when I find myself in a good space, when I'm happy, when I'm comfortable, um, my recovery is easy. Um, and when I'm in a good space, I'm able to be a better person for others, right? And that goes beyond my family, right? I have a daughter. She's 28 years old, and I showing her by example is important to me, right? So when I display certain values that sustain my recovery, and my recovery again, it's not from an addiction per se to a substance, but it was a vicarious, being affected vicariously through my brother's addiction, and what he went through, and then subsequently what myself and my family went through. But other values would be, to be non-judgmental. One of the things that folks that are in recovery, folks that are in the throes of addiction, folks that are in recovery, oftentimes being judged is a big thing. It takes a long time to get the trust back from your friends and family, and sometimes the road for some is longer than others. So for me, um, in my journey, I look to forgive others, give others trust, not to be judgmental, not to be critical, but to be supportive, to be empowering, you know, um, not to remind folks of their past misdeeds, but the the what the future has for them, all the opportunities that they have, moving forward in life, and all the things that they have to be grateful for. So for me, there's a lot of things that come with me in this recovery journey. There's a lot of things that I'm still learning. It's incredible how much, you learn as you go along. So again, for me, one of the important values that sustains my recovery, amongst many things, would be, you know, uh, having patience, having patience.